I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb with you here on this Monday evening, breaking down what we're going to be watching over the next few days with this weather impact alert that is in effect for Thursday and Friday. But this is going to be a busy week. Even before the tropical rain moves in, we have another system that'll be bringing us the potential for some rain here on Tuesday as well as on Wednesday. But then the main event will be on Thursday and Friday as we are watching this developing tropical system that is in the Caribbean right now. It is classified as a potential tropical cyclone. I get a lot of questions about that, saying, are y'all trying to scare us calling this a cyclone? A cyclone is really an umbrella term that is the same thing as a tropical depression, tropical storm, or a hurricane. All of those are considered tropical cyclones. So if the Weather Service or the Hurricane Center said, hey, we're tracking this potential tropical depression, then people would be like, oh, it's just going to be a depression. But that depression could become a hurricane. So that's why they call it a potential tropical cyclone, because a cyclone is an umbrella term that means a depression, a storm, or a hurricane. So that's what we're watching. We do think this system is not only going to become a hurricane when it moves into the Gulf of Mexico, but a major hurricane as it makes landfall, we think later in the afternoon, potentially early evening hours on Thursday along the Florida coast. Then the remnants of the system will move through Georgia. It's going to cut right through Georgia, and that gives us these potential impacts here. We are monitoring the potential for some heavy rain as well as some strong wind, and there is also a storm risk as well. So we're going to break down all of that for you as we go through the next 15 minutes or so here on this update. So here's what we're watching on Thursday and Friday for this weather impact alert. Really at any time during the day on Thursday and Friday, that's when we expect to see the rain coming in. We'll fine-tune that time frame, though, as we get closer to Thursday as well as on Friday. The main things we'll be watching will be the rain threat, the wind threat, and the storm risk. So really what you need to do at this point is just be aware and be alert, because we are most likely going to have changes in this forecast. If you are watching me right now, and you see the rainfall forecast I'm going to show you in a little bit, don't let this be the only thing you watch, because I'm going to be giving updates, and the 11Alive Weather Impact team will be giving impacts day to day, giving those updates, because the impacts can change from day to day. So, you know, I don't want somebody to call me on Friday and say, hey, Chris, on Monday you said blah, 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 but this happened. So just know that you need to watch us every day, because with a developing tropical system and then a landfalling tropical system, conditions can change quickly depending on where that track goes and what side of the track you're on. Now, before we get to all of the action going on with the tropics later in the week and with this weather impact alert, I want to tell you about this. We broke another record today. Yesterday's high was 97 on Sunday. That was a record. We broke a record again today, getting up to 96 degrees. The old record was 94. That was a long-standing record set in 1931. We don't think we'll break a record again tomorrow, but I do think we will make it into the 90s again with another really hot day moving in. Here's a look at our satellite radar. We did have a couple of isolated showers that popped up here and there today. Most of those were up in northeast Georgia. In fact, I'll go up there and you can see that there was just a little bit of rain coming through earlier. But in Rabun County near Clayton, during our 4 and 5 o'clock show, we had some thunder and lightning up there with some pockets of heavy rain. That's all falling apart now. In metro Atlanta, we're dry. We've had some clouds around that was mixing in with the sun earlier, some clouds mixing in with the moon and stars out there as well. And then here is the system we're watching down in the Caribbean. It's the swirl of clouds. A lot of the cloud cover and convection in association with this is on the east side of the center of circulation. The center of circulation is right about here, still in the Caribbean. Once this moves into the Gulf of Mexico, that's when we think this is going to become a hurricane. And most likely this is going to get a name. The next name on the list is Helene. It could get that name later tonight with the 11 o'clock advisory, or more likely that'll happen during the day tomorrow. So again, before I get to the tropical rain coming in on Thursday and Friday, we still have a chance for some rain, a low risk for some showers here on your Tuesday, and then a little better chance for some rain coming in on Wednesday. So let me walk you through that first, because that is moisture coming in ahead of the rain in association with the tropical system. So here we are. Tonight we're looking good out there. Overnight we're fine. In the morning there might be just a couple of isolated showers here and there. Nothing really widespread. There we go through lunchtime and then into the afternoon. There you see just a few spotty showers here and there. We're going with just a 20 to 30% chance for an isolated shower to pop up here for tomorrow. Then on Wednesday we're going to be looking up toward the north and west, as we're going to see a boundary developing there that's going to have some moisture with it. In the morning on Wednesday, there may even be a few showers there in northwest Georgia, a little better organized area of rain back into Alabama. That swings into North Georgia later in the day, in northwest Georgia, the western metro counties there, so that swings through. But then on Thursday, notice from the south that influx of moisture coming in. This is the tropical moisture that's going to be feeding into our area well ahead of what will be a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico, and that's going to spread all of that moisture our way. And just look at all that rain here through the day on Thursday. This is at lunchtime, still very heavy rain pushing through our area and even into the evening hours. This is at 5 o'clock. Now this is all again ahead of the landfall of what is going to be Hurricane Helene in the Gulf of Mexico. That may not happen until late afternoon down in the Panhandle or the Big Bend region. I'm going to show you that in just a little bit. So this is at 5:30, but that's still, the main part of the hurricane is still well down to the south. So that's just going to be some waves of rain coming in well ahead of the tropical system. So here it is named Potential Tropical Cyclone 9. And I explained to you just a minute ago why they call it a potential tropical cyclone. There's that center of circulation. Notice we have some advisories there along the Yucatan Peninsula here and in parts of Cuba. The yellow you see right here in Key West, that is a tropical storm watch that's in effect. We think the system is going to be, in fact, I'll go ahead and advance it for you there, becoming a hurricane on Wednesday afternoon. Category 1, most likely is when that happens. Now you'll notice it's not going to be a direct hit on Key West, but this is going to be a large storm, and the tropical storm force winds will extend far out from the center. So Key West is included in that, or the parts of the Florida Keys in that tropical storm watch, because there's the potential they could see some tropical storm force winds. Now, watch as this moves through the Gulf of Mexico pretty quickly. It is most likely going to experience some rapid intensification, meaning going from a Category 1 to a Category 3 in a very short amount of time. This is the plot for Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Still not making landfall yet, but we do think it will, mainly in this Big Bend region. Now here's Apalachicola right here, Panama City and Destin and 30A. And then as you get over closer to areas of Perdido Key here, and then over to Alabama around Orange Beach. So that's kind of how that works there. We think it's going to be making more of a landfall in this region here, maybe just to the east of Apalachicola, as a Category 3. So that's going to be a major hurricane as it moves in. And again, this track can change. This is just based on what we are seeing right now. Then look what happens once this moves inland. It is going to travel right through Georgia. As it does that, it would go from a Category 3 at landfall to a remnant low into Friday afternoon. So it's going to be weakening as it comes in, but still remaining pretty strong, maybe even classified still as a tropical storm as it moves between Atlanta and the Athens area and then pushes on up to the north. Now remember, that's the center of the track that we're talking about there, but everybody all around is going to be impacted by the system with that heavy rain and with the wind. Now, I mentioned the center of the track for a reason, because if you are on, let's say the center of the track's right here, if you're on the right-hand side of that track, your conditions will be worse. In that right front quadrant is where we see the strongest winds, the biggest severe weather threat, and the main impacts are in that right front quadrant. So on that right-hand side is where you'd see more of the impacts. On the left-hand side, yes, you're seeing some impacts, but not as bad, being on the left-hand side of the track. So that's going to be something we're watching very closely. It could be much different, again, based on this track here, it could be much different in Athens and Augusta than what it might be in Rome and back into Birmingham, Alabama. All right, so that's just what we're going to be watching. Then the system continues up into Illinois, and then it pretty much falls apart up there on Saturday. So it's a fast mover. It's not one of these storms that's going to hang around for a long time and cause a lot of flooding. We will have some pretty impressive rainfall amounts and heavy rain at times, but it's not like a system that's going to stall out over us. So the three main things we're watching: the rain risk. Based on what we're seeing right now, we're talking 2 to 4 plus inches of rain. That number is most likely going to change depending on the track. The wind, we're expecting some strong winds moving through our area. Maybe tropical storm force winds. That would be 39 miles an hour or greater, and even some higher gusts at times. That could bring down some trees. That could cause some power outages, and we'll be able to fine tune that more over the next couple of days too. The severe weather risk depends on that track. That would be more on the right-hand side of the track where we would see the better chance of tornadoes that often are spawned with a landfalling tropical system. So here's a look at the model comparison of where this low would be on Friday. As I've been mentioning, if it's more to the east, that means the impacts on the west side would be lower. Both of these models are showing the center of the low more to the east. The hurricane center track takes it more between Atlanta and Athens. So as I'm watching, excuse me, these models, I'm also now going to be watching the hurricane center's track to see if that shifts a little bit more over to the east as well, because that's going to make a big difference as to what type of impacts we're going to get. The other thing we're watching, these rainfall totals. Now, the American model just updated. Earlier it was saying 4.2. It's saying 5.4 inches of rain now, and then the European model is saying 4.2. Definitely don't come to me on Friday and say, Chris, you told me we were going to have 5.5 inches of rain on Monday. These numbers are going to change. They could be higher, they could be lower. Again, based on that track. If it keeps going to the east, these numbers will come down a little bit more. So we need some rain. We just don't need flooding rain. We don't need it to cause any issues there. But we are looking at the potential for some significant rain moving in with this system. Again, all depending on that track. So my point is, come back to us every day. Make sure you are keeping up with this weather forecast, because any shift in that track is totally going to change not only these numbers for rainfall, but also the wind numbers, as well as that severe weather threat that we're going to be watching as well. There's another system we're watching off the coast of Africa. It has about a 70% chance of developing. So far, the extended computer models show it curving away from the United States, but again, we'll keep an eye on that as well. So check out your 7-day forecast. We will see some scattered showers on Tuesday. That rain chance at about 30%. A 40% chance for some showers on Wednesday. Maybe some thunder and lightning with that possible. Temperatures, though, coming down from 92 Tuesday to 85 on Wednesday. Then Thursday and Friday, the days that would be what we're calling the main event for that weather impact alert, with pockets of heavy rain, wind, and also watching the potential for some thunderstorms. Now, since this system is moving pretty quickly, we think it's going to be well up to the north. We're going to hold on to just a 20% chance for a shower on Saturday and Sunday with just some lingering moisture and temperatures in the lower 80s. But for the most part, the weekend is looking good. Any college football games here in the southeast should be okay. I know Georgia's playing over in Tuscaloosa. I'm not sure where Tech is playing. I need to check that. But we should be looking okay here for those games. And then on Monday, we do go back to a 30% chance for a shower with those high temperatures that are going to be up to around 79 degrees. But again, that won't be tropical type rain. That is just going to be just general, a few of those scattered showers around. Picture from Roz Walker earlier today in Alpharetta. That was just a beautiful scene to see. So here again is a look at that weather impact alert, the developing tropical system we're watching. Three main things we're watching: the potential for heavy rain, gusty wind, and also that storm risk, mainly on Thursday and on Friday. Then clearing out and looking much better as we head into the weekend. So be sure to keep it with us throughout the next few days. We will be fine-tuning this forecast and those impacts for you as we head up to our weather impact alert on Thursday and Friday afternoon. Things looking better once we get into the weekend. So be sure to download our app. You can always check out our radar and updated forecast at any time.